Today on who TF is, because we can't say the TF part in the first minute or else YouTube will demonetize us. We have a much requested guest. We have Player Essence. OJ, how are we feeling today?
Last in order, huh? Everybody else was interviewed
Nate
first.
Nate hasn't been interviewed. Max hasn't been interviewed.
I was
Oh.
gonna make a joke, but I guess I can't make that joke anymore.
So I think the main question that everyone wants to know is it because of orange juice or OJ Simpson? Who is in your family the fan of either orange juice or OJ Simpson to
It's
make the OJ name?
it's a combination of both. So I really liked orange juice like back in the day. And on top of that, like when I went to go play football, they were like, I wore the same number as OJ Simpson. They're
32?
like, yeah, they were like, man, you run like OJ Simpson. So it just naturally fit. So
See,
there you go. I liked orange juice and I ran like OJ Simpson. So they're like, you're OJ.
I don't, OJ Simpson gets a bad rap. I'm sorry. I thought we were a nation of the believing in the court system. Judge Lance
Uh,
Ito said, hey, you know what? Hey, not enough evidence. Not the glove. If the glove don't fit, you must acquit.
I'm not gonna take that side, but you know what? I guess that's the truth. You said the court system plays a part, so
We won't
I
talk
guess
about
it is what it is.
we won't talk about the civil suits.
The-
I have an OJ Simpson jersey that had to be custom made just because I thought it was funny, and I also have OJ Simpson pogs, which
that's
are.
not that's not funny. Two people died.
But I mean, is that the juice's fault?
Yes,
According
probably.
according to Lance Ito, look, I give people the benefit of the doubt, man. I
I'm
give.
just saying, probably, it's probably his fault. If remember, he said he'd write a book if I didn't do it, or here's what I would do if I did it. Like,
And see, does it line up to what happened? There's some deviations from the path. It's
so
perfectly it's perfectly normal for someone to drive away in your white Ford Bronco down the freeway if you're innocent. I mean, I've actually looked at on a serious note, he probably did do it. I've actually looked into conspiracy theories about it though, and
okay,
one of the conspiracy theories is that his son did it. Um, I don't I don't remember
his
why.
son was like a young child at the time.
No. He had another son or something that was like a teenager, like an older
Oh,
teenager or something like that. I went to, that's what I do at night is when I can't sleep, I go down these rabbit holes of either like cults or like unsolved cases just because I find them fascinating. It's like, how could you not figure it out? Isn't that your job to figure things out? Figure it out. What's the problem here?
yeah, man. I don't know. I ain't gonna blame it on his son, but
Oh,
either he did.
I'm just saying,
No,
we gotta look at all
just
the
saying. All
evidence.
right,
We
I
gotta look
feel
at
you.
all the evidence here. So you've been on the Spawncast for quite a while. What would you say is the worst thing about being on the Spawncast?
The worst thing about being on the Spawncast,
Yes.
talking to you guys. No, I'm joking. There really isn't any negative thing about being on the Spawn. I'm not trying to just say that just to say because you guys are my friends, but there really isn't any negative thing. It helps us a lot. We get new exposure to fans. But I would say sometimes the chat can be annoying as hell. But outside of that, there's not really any negative. But I would say sometimes the chat be going up, like going crazy, what was it a few weeks ago? They're like, oh, OJ needs to be taken off. He's just they're just so sometimes they be going kind of crazy, which is fine. Like fans are allowed to say it and think however they want. But I mean, that's probably the worst thing, and it's not even that bad. It's really not even that bad.
Yeah, for some
So
reason, who's bothering me? With the last episode of the Spawncast, which I think everyone but Max was on there because Max is usually a target that everyone likes to gang up on. But I'm pretty sure
yeah,
everyone else is on there. I don't even remember doing anything or saying anything outside of the norm. And I looked the next day at all the comments and like, RGT's bringing down the quality of this show. He needs to go. I'm like, dude, I didn't even fucking do anything this past week. Like there are weeks where I clearly do something. I think a lot of people don't understand though, is a lot of the things that I say to create to spark a conversation because
well,
I don't get these shows where it's like everyone is just like, so what do you think about that? Yeah, I think it's cool. Yeah, I think it's cool too. All right, let's move on to the next topic. It's like, bro, who wants to watch this? I want to see people going back and forth. I want to see conflict. I want to see drama. That's what people thrive on. Like, I don't get these boring ass video game shows. That's what makes Weapon Wheel such an enjoyable watch for me, because none of those people get along, and they're always yelling at each other, and they're just saying completely out of pocket shit, and it's great.
Yeah, and I don't understand. Like, I can understand maybe why people don't want it to go too crazy, but like, if you've ever watched any successful talk show or successful, sports show, like, what are the most successful sports shows? Undisputed.
Yeah, Undisputed.
First Take. First Things First. Those are all, and I would say our show is kind of more like First Things. I don't know if you've seen First Things First. Have you seen that show?
Yeah.
Yeah. Our show is more like that. It's not quite head-to-head debate like Undisputed is, but it's more of like we make jokes, and sometimes it can be a little bit more, sometimes it's not, but it's kind of more like a conversation, a roundtable conversation. And those guys disagree all the time, but they make jokes about it, they laugh about it, they say, well, you said this, and they go back and forth, but it's not anything super personal. So I guess there are people who like the nice guy type of show where everybody's just, like the Dr. Lupo or Pokimane type of stuff, where everybody's just getting together and just saying kumbaya, 100% of the time. But I don't think that makes for an entertaining show when you're not up to some type of level where people just like you, even if your content is trash. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
People just like you no matter what. We're not there. We have to create something. So it's okay to have our Metroid disagreements. It's okay to have our Pokemon disagreements. It's okay for someone to say, well, you said this. We're like, no, I said that's okay. That doesn't mean we're gonna like hate each other. It creates a conversation. So I don't understand the you need to be removed type of stuff because I didn't like what you said. It's like, that's the whole point. You're supposed to disagree sometimes or agree or whatever the case is,
Yeah, I
don't understand.
we're not trying to have good vibes throughout the show, is what I'm trying to say.
Sorry to name drop people on your show. I didn't know if you wanted me to.
I don't give a this doesn't care. I mean, that's just, that's a very kumbaya sort of thing. And I wasn't even addressing a good vibes podcast. Anyways, so I think another question that a lot of people want to know is, what happened to the Furious One?
Yeah, I'll tell you. So essentially when I was first when I was first starting up YouTube, I really liked Angry Joe. I thought Angry Joe, and I wanted to do reviews. So I felt like, hey, I could do like a separate thing. It wasn't even when I first started YouTube. It's like when I wanted to branch off my channel to do like reviews, and I still wanted to keep like my news and all that. So I was like, hey, I can do like a alter persona, and I can just talk about games in this type of way. And to be honest, it was really successful at first, but I couldn't deal with the crazy people at that time, like the crazy people, that community, the crumb side community. It was, like I said, I was gaining thousands of subs. Like, it was doing really, really well at the beginning, but I just didn't really feel like dealing with everybody in the comment section and dealing with all that drama. So I just decided to just drop it.
Yeah, a lot of those people, they can go, I mean, look at what's happening with the angry video game nerd. Like, there are tons of like channels and different sorts of outlets that are like constantly covering like his demise and stuff like that, because I guess, I don't know, like, I mean, do some of the new episodes, do they have the same charm as the old ones? No, but at some point in time, it's like, also what you like evolves. What you like becomes different. What you liked 5 years ago, you might not like today. What you liked 10 years ago, you might not like today. So I feel like people's tastes are constantly evolving, and there's always going to be people that like that, sort of in your face, like, fuck this game sucks my ball sack. And like, I used to do shit like that too, but it's kind of like, I don't know, you got to reel it in a little bit, because I feel like the people who enjoyed that sort of style, that number is kind of diminishing a bit.
Yeah, his videos are still, I think he still gets pretty good views of it. He does a lot of other stuff. He does movies and stuff like that.
But yeah, I mean, he's built like a huge I more or less mean someone who's not James Rolfe or Joe. If someone were to come along today or within the past 5 years just doing the angry shtick, it gets tiring. And sometimes you want to be positive about things. Like, it's fun to talk about things you like, and you kind of get pigeonholed a bit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wasn't doing only the angry stuff. Like, I was doing actually, the views were pretty calm and tame. It was more of like going off of like kind of like the setups like Angry Joe had, like doing like different skits and stuff. And it was like I said, it was cool. I gained a lot of subs, but just like I said, the comment section was just sometimes pretty terrible. So I just felt like, just moving on and just doing something else.
Now, this is something that probably a lot of people don't realize, but out of everyone on the Spawncast, including like side guests, I've known you for actually the longest. Jordan is in second place, Wood is in third, and then Spawn himself is in fourth. But I've known you for over a decade, right? Or at least almost a decade.
Almost. I think you were at
2000, yeah, it
the
was 2014. It was
2000,
2014.
yeah, 2004, 2013 or 2000. I'm almost positive I read your stuff in 2013, or I definitely, you were around at that time, if I'm not correct, right?
No, yeah, because I first started in, I believe it was 2012 on another website, and then I moved to Nintendo Enthusiast, I think towards the tail end of 2013. And we didn't start doing content until 2014
Yeah.
because we
So
decided to pick that up.
yeah. So it's been a hot minute.
I remember the website days and everything. Like,
Oh man, try to make money on the website. Good luck.
how did that
Yeah.
work? Did that not generate revenue? Because
It,
I always hear people say, oh, you need to have like a website to complement your stuff. And I just don't see how it's beneficial because you're making people switch from one platform to another.
Yeah, dude, quite possibly the worst years of my life. I mean, I've said this on my own stream, and I have no problem talking, but I know you had a discussion the other day about, your own mental, health stuff that you have to deal with. And at that time, that was quite possibly the worst time for me mentally. When you work all day on a website, now this isn't every website. Now there's very successful websites that do very well, but running it yourself and not having a team, not having that backing is very, very difficult. And that's essentially what I did at playeressence.com for so long. You'd work all day. Like I remember E3, I think I worked all day, all month. We were just getting ready, and I think my check was like $600. You know what I'm saying? For like the whole month. And that is like working on the website from like day to night. Once again, there's very successful websites, but that was a really, really low point for me. And then I think there was one point like my checks were like 200 something dollars, $300 every single month. There was one point where I just had a mental breakdown. I think it was like I was working, and nothing was coming in. And then my sponsor got like my AdSense got revoked. Somebody false reported. It got revoked. I tried to use other places, but they were like giving like malware or whatever. Like their ads were trash, and I'm just like, dude, this is terrible. And then I was a young father at that time, so I was dealing with a person that I didn't really feel like dealing with, at the time and everything because things were just terrible there and trying to take care of a baby. So everything was just terrible. I had a mental breakdown, nervous breakdown. I don't know what the exact term would be, but it feels like your hair's on fire.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. And I think I was like rolling on the ground. It was just a nervous breakdown. So that was just a very difficult time for me trying to run a website and just trying to, do things. So I had to just switch up my focus, stop working on the website. I was able to get like, a normal job. And I worked on YouTube as a side hustle for a while until I just said, hey, I'm going to give it a shot, after I got fired from one of my other positions. So let me just give it a shot. So it's kind of how it all worked out. But yeah, websites are it's rough to run a website. YouTube is much, much better, at least for me, or even like if it was Twitch or just something else would be better than trying to do a website.
No, I completely agree with that. And you did it in a smart way to where, because so many people, they get into YouTube and then they just drop everything, and it's like, bro, you can't do that. You have to build it and you have to assume that the YouTube isn't going to ever take off. And once it does, if it does start to take off, then you could look at it as a thing. Like, don't quit the day job and put all your eggs into one basket.
I made that mistake. That was me. To start Player Essence and to do YouTube, like YouTube was a smaller thing for me, but playeressence.com was like my thing. And that was the worst mistake. Because the job that I had wasn't incredible. It was one of those like starter jobs, like where they just hire anybody with a college degree, So it was one of those, and it was just long hours, and it sucked, but at least, it was something.
Well, that's good. But
yeah, I quit it. I quit it to do this, and I saved up quite a bit of money. I quit, and that was one of the worst decisions I ever made. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough because you never know when the right time is, and what's going to happen. I mean, your channel, you gotta be knocking on 100K's door now, right?
Oh, it's very close to 100K. Like less than, I know it's like less than 1.5. I haven't checked
Okay.
recently or anything, but I know it's close. Somebody like, oh, I think I saw it was like 98,000 something. I don't know.
And
So
that's
yeah, getting very close.
and that's the thing about you is you could look at someone because I remember I went full time on YouTube at 80K and people were like, that's stupid. But I think a lot of people don't understand that like it's not necessarily about subscriber numbers, it's about views and a community. And you have a very strong supportive community who's always, you know, the ninja funds and all that stuff. And like that can circumvent like any other sort of metric. And I think a lot of people just don't understand that and don't get that aspect of things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you would look, sometimes I get pretty crazy support. I'll be honest. Like the Ninja Fam, they're nuts, and it really does. So it's like my channel's really, it's kind of like a weird thing, you know, because usually you wouldn't see somebody at that size getting the support that I get. But I think it's because I really tried to go in, you know, and try to make it about that community and tried to make it about whatever. We're here to have fun, have jokes, whatever. It was something different, you know. I saw, you know, Etika, RIP to the GOAT.
RIP.
You know, I saw him and I was like, man, this guy, this is something revolutionary for like a black content creator, but for anybody really can look at that and say, this is something pretty crazy, right? So I felt like, you know, I can't be as crazy as him. I'm not as young. I wasn't as young as him. I can't say the things that he says, you know, and I can't do the things that he does, but I can reel it in a little bit in my way and kind of tie it into what I wanted to do. So yeah, the support that I get from the community, which is really good, the members, you know, whether it's donations, whatever the case is, really helps if I have, you know, because my views aren't as high as you got the rest of the Spawncast views. Well, most of you guys' views, you know, my views aren't like that, but my community comes in because I stream every single day and they help out and they help bring the community up and help get more new subscribers and whatever the case is. So I'm always eternally grateful for every opportunity that I get, whether it's working with you here or whether it's on the Spawncast or whether it's anything, the people that support, hell, whether you like, dislike the videos, I appreciate everything. I know sometimes it seems like I don't because I talk too much, but that's just because of where I was raised, you know, where I just grew up. That's how you were back in the day. You just, somebody says something, you say something back.
Yeah,
That's it, you know?
I don't
So,
people get so bent out of shape about that. There was a guy
yeah.
this past weekend. He was like he was talking, so I was talking back, and he was like, "Come to Baltimore. This is my real name." I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong with you, bro? You fucking started talking some shit. I started talking some shit back. Like you're taking it to a whole nother level. Like people don't understand that." You know, people are allowed to snap back, and it's not wrong. It's
Yeah.
human nature, you know. Like we're
You got
not
to know when sometimes
Mahatma Gandhi here. Like
yeah, yeah, you got to know when sometimes sometimes it goes a little bit too far. So sometimes you have to put your own filter, right? I know you've had to deal with it because people be coming at you too.
oh yeah.
So sometimes you're like, "Oh, I really want to," but you know what? No, not that time. Let me just not this time. Maybe next time, but not this time.
I'll say it to myself, and then like I feel like
Yeah,
that's good enough. All right, so we've had a pretty much serious conversation, which besides the OJ stuff. So let's end it on a more random topic. What's the hardest drug you've ever done?
The hardest drug that I've ever done,
Mhm.
honestly, the hardest drug that I've ever done is marijuana. I have
pi-
not done
No pills?
anything. No, no. I kid you not. The hardest thing that I've ever done was a little bit of marijuana back in the day when I was like, ooh, it's more than a decade ago at this point. Just a little bit. That's the hardest thing that I've ever done. No pills, no hard drugs, no
Was it a
anything like that.
blunt or a bong?
Just one of the old school bong
Oh,
ones.
okay.
Yeah, just, and I was like, and I started coughing to the point to where I was like, I can't breathe. And then I'm like, I'm done. That was the last time.
That means it was
I
a good hit, though. You were on the right path. Don't do
I
drugs,
was I
kids.
was like I started coughing to the point, but it was like I guess it was illegal back then. It was illegal. Now it's legal. Now it's like whatever. Or at least here in California, it's legal here.
Yeah,
I know not every
a
state.
lot of I think we're decriminalized here. I haven't smoked in for fucking ever, but I know if I was in high school and it was like that, like, man, it would have made life easier because you wouldn't have to worry as fucking much.
Yeah, I mean, I was always in playing sports, so I mean, like access to even getting that stuff was just something that I wasn't really thinking about. I was just thinking about, hey, I gotta rush for this many yards. I'm trying to go to college. I had all these schools, giving me letters for this, so it was always like, yeah, there was times where I was around some more crazy stuff, but I'm like, nah, man, I got practice, or I got to do this or I got to visit in the morning or whatever. There was always something because I went to a very the only reason why I went to that school was to play football. That was
Mhm.
the only reason why I even went to the school that I went to, you know? So that was what I was all about when I was younger. And then once I got into college, it was like, okay, well, grades. I'm there on scholarship, I'm there on academic scholarships. So I'm like, okay, my grades, my grades, my grades. I got to keep my grades up, got to keep my grades up. So that was really, and I was trying to play football. I was trying to play football as well. So I just didn't really have time to really think about anything else. And in college, I was a nerd. Everyone's, oh, he's not cool anymore. So it's not like I had cool friends, like super cool friends to hang around with that did all that stuff.
Did
So
you have the flame style silk button down shirt with the wife beater underneath? You could tell me. It's okay.
I probably did at one point. I'll be honest.
Well, OJ, this has been a very enjoyable conversation. I'll have links to OJ's channel in the description box down below in case you don't know him. You should know him. But yeah, welcome back to Who the Fuck Is. I told you season 2 was coming back. I actually have another interview that we're going to do today, but you won't see that till probably next week. And yeah, any final words for the people?
No, I just want to say thank you to the RGT community, RGT live community. I appreciate you guys no matter what I say on Twitter or anything. Thank you guys for watching the episode. And once again, I'm very, very humbled and appreciated for my friend RGT to have me on his show here. I appreciate it.
Stop it. I've known you forever. All right, people, we're out. We'll see you next time.